Welcome to all the viewers joining us around the globe. Pre-recorded show on Monday morning early for the Tuesday meeting, and that is for the Vaal 12:20. We have a double header alongside Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, so you've got a lot of races to get involved in. And joining me on the line is Alistair Cohen. Alistair, double header, and obviously we're going to feature in on the Vaal. But firstly, how are you doing? And then secondly, what do you make of the entire card?
Yeah, good day, Sheldon. Good day to all the viewers. How am I doing? I'm doing very well at the start of this week. Another exciting week coming up. Loads of racing, a rare double header on a Tuesday to kick things off. On the back of what was a fantastic weekend, I mean, to see Winchester Mansion come back to form was a surprise, but a good one all the same. Our Betway summer couples who I did mention on the Saturday show, Hotter Ruby running a nice fifth, so I think he sealed his place in the field, so now I'm not afraid to have a few anti-post bets onto Hotter Ruby. I thought it was a very good card on Saturday at both venues. I thought Great Plains was absolutely brilliant, and I like the run of Boundless Energy in the Cape Classic at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. How do I find this card? Going on to more immediate matters, very, very tricky, unfortunately. It doesn't start easy. It gets perhaps a little bit straightforward. We get a little bit of direction, but those first two races with the big fields are very, very trappy indeed. My suggested bet is Jackpot 1, which we'll talk about from race 4.
So, race number 1, where the action all starts, and that will commence at 12:20. They'll be doing duty over 1,400 meters. And looking at the betting, Alistair, number 4, Sonic Jet, a strong favourite at 15-10. And of course, this race is in some familiar silks for those new owners who've achieved graded success. Obviously, they've got Royal Victory and some top horses, and they're really enjoying the game. Kabela Matsunyani for Corey Lensley, and consistency is the daughter of Erupt's strength.
Yeah, absolutely, Sheldon. And also, just to dwell on what happened on Sunday at Hollywoodbets Greyville, I thought Sarah Gaines' win was brilliant, but very encouraged with the runner-up Royal Victory in the same colours as well. Obviously, at the time of recording, Muzieni has been stood down. A lot of his replacements are not known for the time being, and also the way that the Vaal track is configured. Although the last meeting, off a similar configuration, horses were effective on both sides of the track. You'd ordinarily think that the way it's configured, that low number draws would be advantageous, and that just points to the two horses at the top of the board, 4 Sonic Jet and 5 Saudi Sweep. Which way will I go? Number 4 Sonic Jet over number 5 Saudi Sweep. The daughter of Erupt under Kabelo Matsunyani for Corey Lensley. Corey's yard has turned the corner. She probably would have needed her last run, where she just faded out of it over the closing stages, coming back from a 4-month layoff, but still running second behind Miss Leah, who was not winning out a turn. Run to World of Alice, who was second in the Her Serene Highness Princess Charlene Starling Stakes behind Fatal Flaw on Saturday, and then also 3 lengths to Parisian Walkway, who is feature raced. Sonic Jet, I think, is a winner in waiting, and she will be the one that takes all the beating on that last run. She holds the likes of Mocha Rin, Arctic Silver, Shamoon, and Fan the Flames. So that's a fair percentage of her rivals here. So she'll be the horse they all need to not be a total shame on the card. And when you look around at the lightly raced horses, maybe Isaiah's Tiara, number 11, could have some sort of say. Trent Mayhew taking the ride for Craig Mayhew, but she's got 2 lengths to turn around with number 5 Saudi Sweep. With lightly improvement, not impossible that she does trouble the judge least. But on order of preference, 4, 5, and 11 for me. Typical first-timer disclaimers apply. If there is any support, any money for the first-timers, watch out for them, with 13 Like a Prayer making the most appeal of those.
That'll kick us into race number 2 territory, and this is 12:55 over 1,400 meters. And at the early time of recording, scratched on numbers 4 and 14. And that's quite a big move, because the first timer now gets a run, number 17 Tokyo Medaglia from the Roy Magnus stable. And Alistair, as soon as the betting came out, opened around 12 and 14 to 1. The money's come quickly down 11 to 2.
Yeah, and that's not a surprise, Sheldon. because he's a chance, number 17, Tokyo Medaglia. Certainly on the first two starts. His last run, I'd venture to say that he was eased out of the race and ran a distance behind. He's got to be better than that. I wouldn't make him a good thing, but he's definitely one to respect. I think the horse to focus on here is number 13, On Target. A valid excuse the first time out. It is drawn hard up on the outside, so we'll get good clarity after race one if they are effective on the outside or if they're just running two different races. Number 13, On Target, ran behind stable companion Sea Wolf on debut. Tony Peters' interview before the race, he said that he's a nice horse, will probably come on with a run under the belt and when he steps up over further. So here we are with a run under the belt and going a furlong further. So 13, On Target does make appeal. It just depends whether the going's playing towards the outside. Other horses come into the picture. Number 1, Heartfelt Storm, valid respect. Trent Mayhew, I think he's got a nice book of rides. Steady improvement all the while. Has been off since the end of final trip. Might have counted himself an unlucky loser on that occasion. The yard's in good form at the moment, so number 1, Heartfelt Storm, not one to let run loose. 7, Mizzen Sword, also got to be a player. I think that the Zafar form line is going to work out quite nicely. Jared Penny's riding well for Mark Khan. They're going along nicely. I think Mizzen Sword can run into the top 4, if not better. And then number 17, Tokyo Medaglia, on the back of some early support for the reserve, also comes into the play. So in order of preference, I don't think we'll need all of these for the place accumulator, maybe for the bipod, but in order of preference, I'm going to motivate 13, 1, 7, and 17 as the likeliest winners in the race.
That'll kick us into the third race, which will be the opening leg of the all-important Pick 6. So at 13:30, 1:30, you need to have those Pick 6 bets on, and hopefully you win the winners to the end of the day. Now, Alistair, just looking at the betting in race number 3. Number 4, We Are the Logans, is 14-10. Gavin Larena in mustard form for the Tony Peters stable. He'll be doing duty. Number 6, Moolah Man's 3-1. And number 5, Frozen Fantasy. Number 2, Presley. Frozen Fantasy, 33-10. 9-2, Presley. How do you put it down in race number 3? Where would you be looking to play, Alistair?
Sheldon, the key to this race is whether We Are the Logans gets the trip. He's tried a mile before and he's done okay without being really prolific, and he's obviously gone further to 1800 meters, a trip that he doesn't stay. I mean, this is kind of a nothing distance, and it might actually help him being draw 1 with Gavin Larena on board for Tony Peter. There's absolutely no way he's a pick 6 banker just because he might not get the trip, even though he's bred to get the trip. He's just not showing signs that he's going to be as effective over more than a mile than what he is over that sort of 1200, 1400 meter range. But it's worth a try because the best version of We Are the Logans would easily beat this field. He's run a grade 1 level as a 2-year-old and ran 4 1/4 lengths behind Sandringham Summit, where he obviously earned a very lofty rating of 108, and he's come down now to a 91, although he was the lowest of an 85, where he came back to winning ways at his penultimate start. So for We Are the Logans is easily the key to this race. The very consistent number 6, Moolah Man, interests me. Obviously Gavin Larena would never have been able to do the weight 53.5, even if this was a Hollywoodbets Durbanville. I just cannot possibly get down to the weight, but very consistent horse. I don't know whether he's quite putting it in over the closing stages, Sheldon, because he's moving up with a lot in hand and just not quite going through with it right at the end, number 6, Moolah Man. So I don't know what's missing there, but you know that you're going to get a run for your money, and you know that you're going to probably get a cheap thrill with number 6, Moolah Man. He ought to go close. Number 2, Presley, another horse that makes appeal. We are waiting the jockey at the time of recording. Johan Janssen van Vuren trains. He was also tested at a high level, was Presley. His worst run was in the Tab South African Derby, where he patently didn't stay a mile and a half. But with that said, he's got form to the likes of Atarime, who holds an entry to the Betway Summer Cup. He's got a bit to do to qualify for the Betway Summer Cup. And even last time in a progress plate, where Presley looked to be completely outclassed, wasn't disgraced off top weight behind Slinky Mapimpi, with a few nice horses in and around Presley. So he's got to go into the play as well. I'm going to go with the even numbers here, 2, 4, and 6 as my inclusions in the opening leg of the Pick 6.
On to race number 4, and they'll do battle over 1700 meters, and just having a look at the favorite, which is number 2, Wild Intent, at 22-10. This is from the Lucky Hudalakis stable. The Gimme the Green Light was the talk of the town when winning on debut. The money came and won effortlessly, followed up by a 4th and a 3rd. Number 1, Latuli, the 5-year-old, who's a 5-time winner. and that will carry the 60 kilograms, whereas number 2, Wild Intent, 55.5, 7-2 Latuli. Number 3, Future Wolf is 4-1. 8, Guy Alexander is 5-1, and then Safe Space at around 11-2. Now, Alistair, looking at the favourite number 2, Wild Intent, he obviously came to the course with a bit of a reputation. He's run 2 fair post maiden runs. Where do you put him in the pecking order in this 81 divided handicap?
On top is the answer, Sheldon. I'll tell you why. You've elaborated and you've touched on the key to this race with Latuli of top weight giving so much weight away, and Wild Intent coming in here of 55.5. I was a short hit away from bankering him in the jackpot, I must confess. I've included 4 and 8 in my play as well. I think Safe Space is a better horse at the Vaal than anywhere else, and on the run to Heather's Boy last time, who started to be a top 3-year-old, 4 Safe Space can easily make a case for him. And then number 8, Guy Alexander, who's seeking a hat-trick of wins. He's doing enough to get the job done. Off a 68 and a 6-pound hike, he's likely to find things a little bit harder, but at least he's winning his races. But the point is, Wild Intent could be going a lot further in his career than Safe Space has gone, and obviously Guy Alexander is... Win over Potberry was good. Potberry took a while to get out the maidens, but in my book he beat a hot maiden at Turfentine just over a week earlier. His second start behind Captain of the Green. Captain of the Green won a race 2 divisions stronger than this subsequently, 2 weeks ago for Fabian Habib. So number 2, Wild Intent, brings that very strong form line into the picture. And then for me, Chestnut Bomber, giving him a kilo would... he's feature raced, he's grade 1 performed, he's not a grade 1 horse, but I reckon that Chestnut Bomber wouldn't be out of place in some feature races coming up in the half-old soon. So for all those reasons, number 2, Wild Intent, makes a lot of appeal. Lucky Hoodalakis, for me, is probably the most informed trainer in Joburg at the moment, especially at the Vaal, his home ground. Number 2, Wild Intent, for me, is going to take all the beating. If he does come unstuck, then numbers 4 and 8 to pick up the pieces.
So we move on to race number 5, and just looking at the distance, 2,400 meters, and it's fair to say that this is a race that you don't trust, judging by the amount of horses you've put into your jackpot, Alistair.
Yeah, and I've got my horse number 3, Banner Bridge, in the play as well, under Trent Mayhew. I think he's actually going to go well. Been building it towards this trip, a distance that he's obviously performed fairly well over. Nearly lost his career between that break between mid-March and late July. And it was always going to be a slow burn to get him back, but he's been running closer all the while. Form lines are all strong. So if he doesn't win, expecting a bold run from number 3, Banner Bridge, I think he'll be in the top 4, probably short-changing him. Top 3 at worst, number 3, Banner Bridge. But in the jackpot, got a few numbers in here. I think pound for pound right now, Mambo Comtesio, probably a better horse than Banner Bridge. He's got a lot of weight to shoulder. Mike de Kock trains. We were waiting a jockey at the time of recording. Went to KZN, was fair at a reasonable level. His first run back behind a horse who's better than him in the former Battleground. Battleground ran 4th in the Java Stakes at Turfentine on Allard Steel Road on a Mission Mile Day. Even though he hasn't won for a long time, number 2, Mambo Comtesio, has come down to a workable mark that's going to make him dangerous. Spoken about number 3, Banner Bridge, who's in my play. If you like Banner Bridge, number 6, Fashimi Inari's got to get into it as well. They met on the 2nd of January. Fashimi Inari has got a valuable swing at the weights for a quarter of a length beating. Gavin Larina takes her out. Fashimi Inari is also not the most trustworthy around. He's not easy in the starting stalls. And he just doesn't win as a rule, does Fashimi Inari. But if he did win, it wouldn't blow me away with the consistency that he brings, and I'm actually surprised that he's still a one-time winner. And then 7, 8, and 9, the horses down the bottom of the weights. Number 7, Master TikTok, is down a couple of divisions. Draw 1's going to help his cause. If he gets the trip, don't know he will, but if he gets the trip, he could be very dangerous. 8, Nuclear Force, ignore the last run. He's a lot better than that. Go back to his anti-penultimate start when beating Battle of Barberton over a similar trip on the Turfentine Inside course. He's a player. And then number 9, Flag Bearer. I nearly sidestepped Flag Bearer, but look at him closely. The 4-kilo claim, 48 kilos in a long-distance race. He's going to think he's loose, number 9, Flag Bearer. Again, I'm not convinced he's at his best over a mile and a half, but with a light weight, if ever he's got a chance of winning a race over this distance, is probably now number 9, Flag Bearer. Lots in with chances. Optimistic Banner Bridge will be in the top 3, but can't possibly bank him in a race that looks as open as this.
Catapulting into the next heat, which will be race number 6 over 1,000 meters. The 3-year-olds seem to dominate the betting here. Number 1, Address the Nation from the Candace Dawson stable at 5-2. And then we have number 2, Johnny Appleseed at 5-2 joint. So number 1, Address the Nation from 3-1 down 5-2. Number 2, Johnny Appleseed 2-1, now joint favorite at 5-2. Now, Alistair, let's get straight into the crunch with number 1, Address the Nation. I see you've gone with Trent Mayhew to take the 2.5 kilograms off the back. And a horse that wins first time out. We all know the story. They're going to feature races. And this is an individual who looks to be above the average.
Yeah, I'd like to think so, Sheldon. I think it could be shrewd to put Trent on -2.5 as well. He's doing very well at home. Trent came to work him a week before this race. He was very happy with what he felt. He did beat the nursery winner Fire Attack on debut, although not going to hide away that had the race been over 1,000 meters, Fire Attack would have beaten Address the Nation doing handstands. He was, of course, the first one world to win as he commenced his record-breaking season. He would have needed his last run, but he ran with a plumb behind Gorgeous Klein. There were some very, very nice horses in and around, and since being gelded, he's come back to the Address the Nation that everyone kind of expected. So he's the big runner, number 1, Address the Nation. He can win. Not that he will win, but he can win. I think what's going to help him is the cheap speed draw next to him with number 2, Johnny Appleseed. But with that said, the cheap speed is a weapon at the Vaal over 1,000 meters. Gavin Larena takes a ride on Johnny Appleseed. He didn't beat a very strong field when winning the Work Riders Maiden, but he won well from start to finish. And he followed up with a fair run behind a horse who I think would win a race of this nature in the form of Karate Kid. He's obviously pretty one-dimensional in the way that he races, but he's, like I said, over 1,000 meters at the Vaal. That cheap speed is a weapon. Five Zafar is in there as well, drawn towards the outside. Jared Penny takes it out for Mark Khan. Like I said, I do think that Zafar form line is going to be okay. Horse who ran second, the horse who ran second came out and ran third. They're bits and pieces for number 5 Zafar, and I think with the weight that he's got with these other 3-year-olds, he's got a prayer. And then number 7 Autumn Var, the filly against the boys, again won a weak maiden when beating Take Your Place, but has maintained a fair level of form, comes down 2 pounds. Pilasande and Oli had the choice for what it's worth between Address the Nation and Autumn Var. Not that he chose Autumn Var, but he's obliged to ride for his sponsor Willem Ackerman, who owns number 7 Autumn Var. But anyway, that's what it is. 1, 2, 5 and 7 for me, but I do make Address the Nation the one to beat. I think he's going to go very well.
Then we move on to the final 2 hurdles. So for those looking to play the last double races 7 and 8, number 5 Francillian from 5-2, well, in fact from 2-1 has gone out 5-2. Number 3 So Seductive is 4-1. Number 2, Francine, from 5-2 out 5-1 and 7-1 and upwards. There's been quite a few drifters in the race. Number 8, Sigrid Swing, on the other hand, from 16-1 down 10-1. Now, Alistair, when you look at number 5 from the Lucky Hudolakis stable, it's quite interesting, taking on a merit-rated 93 field. And you can tell us a bit more about the apprentice. And Lucky Hudolakis has obviously got a game plan.
He does have a game plan. I know quite a bit about number 5, Francillian. She's a banker in my jackpot, therefore she's a banker in the pick 6, and therefore, with what I'm saying, if you are going to have a bet on the nose, an individual bet on the nose, I'm going to motivate number 5, Francillian. Now, she was nominated to run in the Grade 3 on Saturday on Allied Steel Road on a Mission Charity Mile Day. The draw put Lucky off because everyone was kind of waiting for jockeys, and Francillian was the key, and I think Lucky put a proviso of draw 8 or less, and she never came in. So she's obviously, well, if Lucky was targeting a feature race, and here we are at her home ground seeking a hat-trick of wins. She's got 50.5 kilos on her back, Sheldon. Garish Samoberti is a Mauritian apprentice. He's had a few rides. He's had 2 winners. His first winner was for Fani Broncos. The second winner was for Lucky Hudolakis in the form of Bob's Your Uncle. So there's obviously an element of trust there. Drawn towards the middle, I think that she's very progressive as number 5, Francillian. I do think that she's going to step up and reach a mile, this daughter of What a Winter. The mare Ile de France is from the famous Illabella, Ile de Vittoria family, funny enough, if you dig deep enough. But I think number 5, Francillian, is like I said, progressive, and she's going to go places that no one else in this field will go. So I expect her to win with 50.5 kilos on her back. There are a lot of horses here that make appeal that you can make a case for. I think number one, Where's That Party, might just be weighted out of it when winning the Ladies Stakes when under suffrance. She got a big penalty for that. That might have just weighted her out of winning contention for a while, certainly in my opinion. I think Francine has some sort of claims. She would have needed her last run behind Call Me When You Need Me, but I think the fact that she's got to give 8.5 kilos away, 7.5 kilos away is going to count against her. So seductive as obviously beat Stars and Bras, who ran a ripper and earned some black type in the Starling Stakes over the weekend. Boston Glory, Calantha, I think are good fillies, but I think they're going to need the run. So for all those reasons, banker number 5, Francillion, I make her the best on the day.
There we go, Francillion, the best bet on the day, so at around 5-2. If you're following Alistair, that is the horse to be with. Now, bringing down the curtain will be race number 8. It'll be run over a distance of 1,200 meters. And just looking at the betting, Gavin Lorena and Tony Peter, number 1, Blizzard Snow at 2-1. Number 3, Executrix is 9-2. Number 4, Striking Angel, 5-1. And then we go 6-1 and better the rest of the field. Are you in the camp of number 1, Blizzard Snow, the 3-year-old daughter of Erupt, with Gavin Lorena aboard with the 60 kilograms? Or are you looking to get her beat, Alistair?
Sheldon, I'm not really in the camp of anyone in this race. It's a very, very tricky end to the big 6, and hopefully with banker Francillion arriving, we can go in with as many horses as we can. Number 1, Blizzard's no legitimate chance. She too is progressive. She beat Jilted last time. Not too sure if that's much of a feather in her cap, but with that said, she won with ease. The mother was an out-and-out sprinter, was Blizzard Bell. She was trained by Vet Bremner. I think she was Lyle Hewittson's first winner as an apprentice, if I'm not mistaken, and at one stage held the 1,000-meter record at Fairview. Until it was broken by Scandal not so long after that. But all that said, number 1, Blizzard Snow, definite chance. 3, Executrix is interesting for me because she's got all the pace in the world, and then Sean Terry dropped her to 1,000 meters last time and she won. She won with ease. The extra 200 meters is a question mark, but I'm also not prepared to say that she's isolated to a 1,000-meter horse. Not what I saw last time. I don't think she's going to get much more than 1,200 meters with that said, but I don't think she's totally one-dimensional to being a 5-furlong specialist, number 3, Executrix. But we'll learn a lot more about her. She's a horse to respect. But I think overall, 2 horses at a price, what I'm going to motivate you is perhaps look at quartets and look at swingers with 2 horses that might be under the radar. 6, Glowari, Jared Penny and Paul Matchett team up. She also won a week maiden when beating Micker's Bomb, but Micker's Bomb's done okay since then. But she's down a few grades in class. Her penultimate start to Call Me When You Need Me in a race that was a good 3 divisions stronger than this, I think shines a light on her chances. Last time out behind Kia Kaha, she drifted off the boards. I haven't seen too many go from 14-1 to 100-1, but she wasn't disgraced behind Kia Kaha. I think she's got a chance of at least getting into the top 4. And number 9, Dancing Dora. Here's a mare that's done me a few favors along the way. Jason Gates gets a chance from Fani Broncos. That's not a combination you see too often. But she's also run with some nice 3-year-old fillies along the way. And I think with the rub of the green, she does need a lot of luck in running. She's quite a delicate mare by Pomodoro in that if it doesn't go her way, she kind of just drops the bundle and doesn't get into the hunt, although she's always fairly consistent. But she's down now to a 58. I can see her getting a blow in for the top 4. So those could be the horses to focus on to make a bit of money, numbers 6 and 9. I'm not for one moment saying they'll win, but I think that they can get into the top 4 and perhaps make a few bets pay.
Well, that's a look at the 8-race program out at the Vaal, Alistair. We're going to bring up your suggested bet, which is Jackpot 1. So if you can take all your fans and all your followers through your selections, please.
Thanks, Sheldon. So Jackpot 1 starts at 5+2 as mentioned. 2, 4 and 8 in the first leg. Wild Intent, Safe Space and Guy Alexander. Need a few horses in leg 2, which is the first leg of the second jackpot for what it's worth. Got 2 Mambo Camtesio, 3 Banner Bridge, 6 Fushimi Inari, 7 Master TikTok, 8 Nuclear Force and 9 Flag Bearer. By 1 Address the Nation, 2 Johnny Appleseed, 5 Zafar and 7 Autumn Var. And then all hinging on a banker in the form of Francillion in the final leg. Banker 5 in the end of Jackpot 1.
Well, thanks very much for your time, Alistair. As is the norm, take it easy and we'll chat to you soon.
Yep, always a pleasure. Thanks so much, Sheldon. Same to you and have a great week.